Hi everyone, it's Sean. What up? Welcome back to another video, and we have another special treat for you folks today. Yes, IMDb dropped another clip yesterday from Season 3, Episode 5 of The Wheel of Time. This one features Siuan and Moiraine, kind of a tender, slowed down character moment. It was really great, some great acting in it. We're going to show that clip, then we'll talk a bit about it, and then we're going to dive into some news. Yes, there's a couple of things I want to mention. A ton of news out there right now. There's a lot of news out there about viewership rates and speculation of Season 4. That's not today's video, but we will touch on it near the end. I have to do a whole video on that, folks. There is talk of one of the cast members joining a Comic-Con. There is a live Q&A that happened with Rosamund Pike yesterday, and Wheel of Time was in TV Guide. One of our viewers sent in a clipping of that. So we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, we'll talk about the number of interviews that are out there right now and how we're going to cover them here on What Up. Yeah, so there's a ton to talk about. So if you love the Wheel of Time, if you're as excited about Season 3 as I am, or if you just want to keep up with all of the Wheel of Time news, and there's a lot of it, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, tell all your friends, folks. Before we dive into that clip, I want to give a quick shout out to every single one of you out there. What Up has been growing exponentially in the last couple of months, and it's all thanks to you folks. I really do appreciate all the effort you're putting in, sharing the videos around, telling your friends and family. It's really meant a lot to me, especially all of the nice messages you folks have been sending me. I really do appreciate it, and I want to thank you all for that. All right, so let's dive into this clip right now.
Moiraine.
I've come to you this way because I have no time.
Where are you?
I've been through the rings of Ruidian.
You're in the Isle Waste.
I have seen 1,000 futures. And I know two things to be true. If the White Tower does not bend the knee to Randall Thor, he will lose the last battle. And that's it.
No. You don't get to do that. Not to me. What would you have done? In Kyrian, knowing what I knew, what would you have done?
The same. Worse, perhaps.
Then why do you punish me? You think I don't punish myself?
We each had a job. Mine was to find the Dragon Reborn. Yours was to prepare the tower to follow.
All right, so wonderful clip, and I can't wait to see it in full when Episode 5 drops later on. It's one of those things. A lot of you who've watched the channel for some time know that I'm a substance over spectacle guy. There's always a place for spectacle. There's always a place for battles. There's always a place for fight scenes and explosions and the like, and that's super cool. But the slowed down character moments, the character building, and the moments between people have to balance that, in my opinion. And this season is doing that so well. We are getting so many good moments like this season, and I, for one, love every second of it. So we're going to talk about this in a spoiler-free fashion, at least for the book series. So we're spoiling stuff from the show, but I don't really give spoiler warnings to the show because it's not. We're not going to go beyond what's out there right now as far as what's released. But yeah, nothing spoiled from the books here. This is all show-related stuff. So the hut they're in, the fisherwoman's hut that they're in right there, that's the same one we've seen in Season 1, where Siuan used an object of power to go there. And during that season, it wasn't really super well explained on what that was or how it worked or what we were seeing. But if you watch the X-ray material for it, it did mention a couple different things. It mentioned that it was a Terran Grail, which is an object that uses one power to do a thing. It did a thing. It took her to that hut. It also mentioned Tel'aran'rhiod, the world of dreams. So we rightly assumed, I think at the time, that that was in Tel'aran'rhiod, and her and Moiraine were meeting in the world of dreams. Introduced it very, very early as a concept, but didn't explain it really well. So we know Siuan's in the tower. We know that Moiraine's in the Waste because she just finished her going through the rings at Ruidian. We know that Siuan is kind of plotting against Elida and vice versa right now in the tower, so there's a lot of things going on. And they're meeting together in this hut, so likely World of Dreams. And then Moiraine says something that I caught right away, and I'm sure most of you did as well. I learned two things in the rings. And then she proceeds to tell Siuan one of the two things and does not tell her the second. So one of the two things is that the White Tower must bend to the Dragon Reborn, bend the knee to the Dragon Reborn for him to win the last battle. That's a hard thing to hear. That's a gut punch for any Aes Sedai, especially the Amyrlin, because they're prideful. They're full of pride, and they think they know everything. Now, there are some Aes Sedai that are more bendable than others, of course, but as a whole, change is hard for them. So this was big news. This was huge news to Siuan, and I think it kind of covered over the fact that Moiraine didn't give the second thing she learned. And the second thing she learned, we already know what it is. It's been everywhere. So it was first shown to us in the trailer as a voiceover. It was shown to us during the episodes. It was shown in a number of different places, promotional material, interviews, Q&As. So it is not a secret, and that is that Moiraine has to die in order for Rand to win. And there are some things that will be absolutely disastrous if she does, but that's another video. But that is the other second thing, and she doesn't tell Siuan this. And of course, she's probably saving her feelings, and she's upset about it herself, trying to deal with it herself, and doesn't want her partner to know. So there's that. But great scene, really enjoyed it. It was a whole lot of fun. All right, now we're going to talk about a couple of bits of news. There's a whole lot of news out there right now that I want to talk about. First is this: Joseph Strauss is going to be at Eastern European Comic Con, which is kind of neat. If you don't know what that is, it's Comic-Con held in Bucharest, Romania. It's April 26th to 27th, which is the same weekend that JordanCon is, so it's kind of dashing any hopes that he'll be there, although the fact that I don't think we're going to get anybody from the show at JordanCon this year, because it would have already been announced. When Guy Roberts went last year, it was everywhere long before he went. So either way, show's going to finish airing probably the week before, and then there's JordanCon that weekend. I'll be there. But this Eastern European Comic Con, same weekend in Bucharest, Romania. And to give you an idea of how big it is, it's about 50,000 people in attendance the last few years. Compare that to some of the Comic Cons that are a little more well known. You have San Diego Comic Con, approximately 135,000 in attendance. New York Comic Con, approximately 200,000 in attendance. And CCXP, which Wheel Time has been at the last few years in Sao Paulo, Brazil, 280 plus, 280,000 people plus. It's huge. It's a big one. It's probably one of the biggest in the world. But yeah, so Joseph Strauss will be here answering questions about the Wheel of Time, which is kind of neat. Next is this. This is the Wheel of Time in the TV guide. So we made a huge deal about this during seasons 1 and 2 when it happened, because it was a massive deal that Wheel of Time was out there, because there was no marketing. And this time, one of our viewers, Andrew Berenson, who, if you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, you may know him, because he has been also a long time viewer of the channel. Thank you for this, Andrew. I appreciate it. You can go way back to, I think, my 5,000 subscriber giveaway. He won. And that was to come on the channel with me, and we talked Wheel of Time for an hour. It was super fun. I had a great time with Andrew. But yeah, thank you so much for sending this in. Really neat to see this in the TV guide. Wheel of Time is pretty much everywhere this year, which makes me super happy. Next bit we're going to talk about is this. There was a Q&A with Rosamund Pike live on Amazon yesterday. It's about a half hour long. I've left a link to it down below in the description box if you guys want to take a look at it. There's a whole lot of talk about the next episode, about Sarkinen, about the One Power, about Moraine's motivations, about the Wheel of Time in general. Nothing huge, new or groundbreaking really came out of it, I don't think. But there's a lot of really great stuff there. It also included a live chat. And in that live chat, there was a ton of talk and questions that were asked that some of them got answered. So really neat to see. So that leads us into a couple of other things here. I want to talk about the interviews. So I got probably a half dozen messages yesterday or last night. Gowan interviews are out. Luke Featherston's interviews are out. Are you going to cover them? I know they're out. I've read them all. For those of you who don't know, Gowan's my favorite character, and Luke Featherston happens to play him in this season of The Wheel of Time. I was very happy to see Gowan on screen. I thought he was played masterfully. But I do read all the interviews that are out there, but I'm going to reiterate something that I said at the beginning of this, prior to interviews starting to come out. I won't cover an interview for two reasons. The first reason is if another smaller content creator, and by smaller I mean not a big publication. So we're not talking not Variety, Deadline. I guess Nerdist will be considered a massive publication at this point. They're all big publications. Entertainment Tonight, I don't mind covering that stuff because they're huge. They have a huge audience, and no matter if I cover it, people are going to watch or read their stuff anyway. But if a Wheel of Time content creator covers something, if they do an interview, if they're lucky enough to get an interview, I'm not going to cover it here on the channel other than to cheer them on, because I don't think it's fair for me to try to take clicks and views away from someone else. We are a community in the Wheel of Time, and I don't want people just to watch my channel. That's not a thing. That's not what I want. I want people to watch everything. I want people to enjoy other aspects of the Wheel of Time as well. So if, say, Tucker and Roy gets an interview, or Watt series, or the Dusty Wheel, or Road to Tarvalon, and I'm just mentioning a few. There are so many out there. Dragamount. There are tons and tons of Wheel of Time content creators. If they get an interview, I won't cover it other than the fact saying that they got one, that's amazing. Also, if I happen to get an interview with one of these cast members, I likely won't cover other interviews on them either, because I think it's a little redundant to cover someone else's interview in a big publication and then have my own afterwards. If that makes any sense. And so that leads to the next point. Yes, I did get to sit down with Luke Featherston, and I did get to do an interview with him, and it was absolutely amazing. It was everything I could have hoped for, and that will be coming out on the channel in the coming next week or so. So I was able to sit down with him and Tom Snapper, the director, for episodes 3 and 4, and that'll be coming out likely, I'm going to say this weekend or maybe early next week. It just depends on when I get to go ahead from Amazon. But yes, I did get to sit down with them, so I'm not going to cover all the Gowan interviews because, well, I did one myself, and it's super cool, and I can't wait for you folks to see it. Last thing I want to mention is in the last couple of weeks, I've probably gotten somewhere in the order of at least hundreds of messages asking about season 4. What do I know? Am I going to cover that here on the channel? Am I going to talk about it? Are we getting a season 4? What rumors have I heard? Will I be talking about it? Like, I've got a lot of messages about it, and rightly so. It is something that I am concerned about, and most Wheel of Time fans who enjoy the show are also concerned about. We want to keep up on the fact that is there going to be season 4, and I have had here on the channel videos before where sources have told me things, and I've let you folks know. I am going to do a video on a lot of different things. It's going to be a big video, but it won't happen until after JordanCon. So we're going to wait till season 3 is done. I'm focused on season 3 right now. When season 3 is finished, JordanCon is done, I am back home. I will have this video prepped and ready for you folks probably before then, and I will release it. And it'll be a bunch of different things. So it'll be viewership numbers that we know of for season 3, which are still coming in. We know some right now we're getting from different areas. They're not all 100% accurate, but they have their own algorithms. But I'd like to wait for a full season to try to get as much information as I can. We'll talk about the differences in value between Wheel of Time and Rings of Power, which is, I will tell you in today's video, a very, very sore point for a lot of Amazon executives. The Rings of Power is not doing near as well as the Wheel of Time, and it costs way more. That's not necessarily a good thing for the Wheel of Time, though, because it's making people upset. Great for us. What else? We'll talk a bit about the possibility of season 4 and beyond, what I've heard. So there's some official stuff out there right now, kind of him and Han about different things. If we get an official reveal before JordanCon, yes, I'll stop and I'll do a video official. An official reveal video. Yeah, we'll talk about anything official. But for me to get into my rumors and what I'm hearing from my contacts and things like that, I want to wait till season 3 is done, and then I can focus on season 4. If that makes any sense to you folks, you will be getting a video on it, including all the rumors and things. And again, take all of that with a grain of salt. None of it will be official. But that likely won't be till after JordanCon. Like I said, I've got enough messages about it, and I figured I'd address it in today's video. Just so you folks know it's coming. I haven't forgot about it. I'm not ignoring it. It is a thing. And it's a very important thing to a lot of the fandom. But I'm going to wait till season 3's done. If that makes any sense. All right, well, thank you so much for sticking with us here at the very end, folks. Here's to many more.